Live. It's preparing. So as soon as I see, I think we are close and we are, oh my gosh, here we are. Hey, TGIF, it is Friday and I am so excited because it is sunny outside and everybody that knows me well, I love being outside and we have a ball game tonight. My little grandson's playing baseball. So that's where I'll be later. But anyways, Laura, how are you doing? I'm excited to see you. You look great. How's it going?
Oh, I'm doing great. I'm so looking forward to because now all the summer fest starts and all the barbecues, the graduation parties, and all that. And I'm just excited because I love being outdoors and I love seeing people. And we love this, right, Deb? We love going to hear all the bands playing.
Oh man, yes.
We just put out on our Facebook page about what Keith Semple's doing with his bands this weekend, and his fests are starting to kick off, and also Strung Out. So we're going to keep putting those on our
Yes.
Facebook pages because those are our favorites. But today we're going to talk about something really kind of serious, okay?
Yep.
Let's not get too overly cautious about it, but we want to talk about food safety at home, especially with all the barbecues and stuff going on and all the fests going on. We always wonder if eating outdoors is kind of a safe way for us to eat. And first, I want to tell you there's four main things I want to talk that kind of goes with as far as food, okay? And the four main elements are keeping your area clean, separating the food, cooking the food, and chilling the food. These are the things that we're going to talk about. But just so you know, especially at all these different fests that are going on, they have to go through the food administration, the health department, and they have to be certified before they can even have a booth at a location at a fest. So just so you know, there's qualifications they gotta pass before they can even serve that food. So if that's something in your mind, just know that they will have their health department form signed on their booths. So if you ever have a question about that. But we're going to talk about a lot of different things. And the main one that we're going to talk about to start off is washing hands.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And if you don't realize how important it is to wash your hands, and they're saying not just slap some water on there and some soap, they're saying you need to at least wash your hands for 20 seconds. Now, I have heard of I know somebody that does the ABCs,
No, I was gonna say, yeah.
and it's that's a good timing to go by, especially if you're teaching little kids.
Mm-hmm.
Everything we're talking about is also geared for kids. If we don't teach our kids when they're young how to be safe with food, they'll never grow up and know the right way to do things. This way, when they learn when they're young, they'll grow up with those healthy habits. So, Debbie, do you have anything to add about the washing of the hands?
Oh, totally. I'm gonna laugh because you know what? I think that wouldn't you agree that you've probably washed your hands more in the last couple of years because of we've amped it up? Okay, like let's think about it. When you're in the doctor's office and they walk in, what do? They go over to their sink, they got their little foot pedal, they put their, soap on, they wash their hands before they, touch you. I've adopted that in my salon because I'm like constantly washing my hands before I touch anybody's head or hair or shoulders, whatever. But the same thing is just good. So I think that we really have to think of some basic stuff, as stupid as it sounds. We cannot see the germs. We can't see the salmonella. We can't see the contamination. If we could see it, it'd be a whole different story, but we can't see this stuff, So, and we're not making this up, right? So,
Oh, I'm not,
you
and
know,
just so you know, there's a lot of information out there on the internet. And also, if you want to watch something while you're or listen to something while you're doing stuff around the house, go to YouTube. There's a lot of information about that. And there's a couple of YouTubes out there, Debbie, that have songs for kids about
oh,
washing their hands and doing all kinds of food safety stuff. But washing your hands is just not just for kids because what it is cross contamination is huge and you don't realize it. That you could touch something like you're doing with poultry or something or raw meat, and then you go touch vegetables and you haven't washed your hands. that gets on the vegetables too. And it also gets on, you're not gonna believe it. I was looking at stuff today and I'm like, oh my God, I don't even think about this. They were showing people that the best way to clean like your kitchen and stuff, cross contamination, so you don't have that, is like to wash your cabinets that you've touched, wipe down where the garbage can is at, all that kind of stuff. Wash all your areas. With you use what antibacterial stuff do you use?
You know what? I got kind of hooked on this Lysol one that's got a lemon kitchen fresh almost, but it has antibacterial. That's good and it kills anything. So that's my go-to. But and it sprays easy. And paper towels. Don't use your kitchen towel because then if you do, then you better put it in the laundry.
Right. In fact, I use paper towels on everything now in my house. I even when I'm doing my dishes, I'll use this. I see we don't have dishwasher. So all you lucky people that have dishwashers, you get a really good sanitized load of dishes. But with people like me that don't have one, I only use a couple of things, but I use mainly paper towels.
Hmm.
I don't dry my dishes with paper towels because of the
Hmm.
fact of, you never know if you leave something on there or not.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
you
Very
know,
good point.
we want to talk a lot about the outdoor barbecues and stuff like that because that's what we're all going to start going to or even having at our houses. So we could go on and talk about more things, Deb. What else do you have to say about any of these things?
Well, here's the thing. Well, let's talk about like raw meat and cooking and like temperatures and all that kind of stuff. So there's this thing that we were looking at. So just so everybody knows, Lori and I again are no expert on anything. Okay, we grab a lot of this information from health orientated websites or magazines or articles, and then we share everything that we share. And if there's something we say that you don't agree upon, it's not like we're saying it is the absolute end all. Just take this for what it is and try to do your due diligence as well. But raw meat, they say you should rinse it, number one, which a lot of times I'm going to be honest with you, I don't always rinse. I've always gave my turkey a bath before I did Thanksgiving and stuff, but I never really thought of like doing all the other meats and stuff. And I know, Lori, I think you said it to me one time. I think you always rinse and wash all that stuff. So I think that's one thing they say, but then you've also got to be careful about that area that you've already done that rinsing, where you've got your kitchen sink. Now you got to clean that really good because now you've got all these things. You can't just fill it and put soap in it and think you're going to wash some dishes. You've got to clean it all out. But I think there's also another thing that you have to look at is that like, as far as temperatures of cooking. And I know, Lori, you were telling me yesterday, we were talking a little bit, we chit chat the day before, or sometimes the 2 days before about what our subject is a little bit. And I forgot that you took that class that you were talking about. So like, what is the temperature situation supposed to be?
Well, there's really kind of there's a safe area for food and there's a danger area.
Okay.
Okay. Raw material as far as food, vegetables, or whatever should be stored in 41 degrees and less. Okay.
Okay.
The refrigerator should not be any higher than 41 degrees. Okay. And then it should not be cooked. Any food should not be cooked as far as meat and stuff like that, poultry and fish and that, any lower than 145 degrees. So 145 degrees and higher is safe, and under 41 degrees and lower is safe. Now the
Okay.
temperature is where it's cooking. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So that process usually goes pretty fast. So that's the danger zone. So you got to make sure that you don't put meat out that's like at 135, 140 degrees. You need to go 145 and higher. And again, make sure your source of refrigeration is 41 degrees and lower. All right, now this is something I learned when I took the health department test. I had to do it for a job years ago, and it's something I still remember. Do you know why? This is a question, Debbie. Do you know why you could eat steaks rarer than hamburgers?
I absolutely do not, and I like my steak rare. So tell me.
No, steak you could do rare because what happens is the outer part of it gets seared and all the juices and everything stay inside, and it's not porous. Whereas ground meat is porous. And so bacteria could slip through the ground beef, especially too if you're using your hands to form hamburgers or whatever you're going to do, meatloaf or whatever. So that is why you could have steak, very rare, but you need to cook your hamburgers or ground beef or anything with ground beef well done.
Okay.
Okay? And that's the ins and ends about it. I just didn't even realize it, but you think about it, ground beef is more porous because it's put together, and plus you're using your hands in that. So that's your tidbit for today, Deb.
Well, that tidbit's good because think about it now. I know that a lot of people do their little thermometer, that meat thermometer, and I have one. I will be telling you that I don't use it all the time, but I probably think I'll be more conscious now that we're talking about this because a lot of the stuff that we do talk about, we learn from. I mean, that's why sometimes we pick our subjects because we are like, yeah, I want to know more about that and I want to know how that works. But I know that let's just say we're making a roast, okay? And so we're having a big Sunday roast that we're going to have with vegetables and all that, and we've got our roast and it's in our roasting pan, and nice and juicy and done, and the outside of it looks nice and good. We need to put that thermometer in there, and it has to be at what for cooked? Isn't it like 180 or something like in that zone?
Depends on how rare you want the roast to be.
Okay, okay,
No, Debbie, I'm just going to bring this up and I'd like to continue talking. But you know what? Cooking without a thermometer is like driving a car without a speedometer.
right, true.
Okay.
Very true. Very true. Well, although let's talk about this for 2 seconds, kind of back and forth. When you're talking chicken, now chicken, that's one you really got to be cautious because I think you can, maybe I'm wrong, but I think you can get sicker off of undercooked chicken than you could off of undercooked meat, but I could be, and it can also depend on bacteria and all this stuff. But the one thing about chicken, you can't have it be pink at all. I mean, it's got to be cooked really well. So my easiest way of course checking is cutting it a little and checking and seeing and making sure, but I'm always afraid when I'm cooking with barbecue sauce because barbecue sauce is kind of pinky red, and so then you've got to really be careful. So I'm kind of like,
So I would think that you would want to use a thermometer, and I'm trying to look at my list here. I think chicken should be 165 degrees and higher.
okay, I'm trying to see if it's in this thing. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, okay.
The bone or the bone, the more bones that are.
Oh, here's one. Wait, whole kids, beef, lamb, or pork, 145, ground meat, 160. Okay. I do know one thing I've read or seen or heard somebody tell me that it's really important that if you put your chicken in your refrigerator, which we're going to talk about how to do that in a second, because we have to make sure that we're getting our things, not leaving things out too long. But let's say this first. When you put it into the refrigerator, that I know a girl that actually worked for the health department. She was telling me that you can have it in the refrigerator for X amount of days. She had told me 4, 5, 6 days. But when you take it out to eat it, that don't eat it cold, you need to cook it again, like put it in the microwave or heat it so that you can be rest assured that there isn't any bacteria that kind of settled in there. And I thought that was a really good thing because some people like to take, we're big on this in the summer with lettuce, and we like to, do a chicken salad, like a chicken Caesar or chicken, whatever. But I'll take that chicken out that I maybe cooked the other day, cut it into strips and throw it in the frying pan. And then it kind of like grills up a little bit, crisp up, and then put it in the salad. You want to do that. You don't want to just pull it out of the refrigerator. And that's my understanding. So hopefully that's accurate.
That is a fact. That's a good fact.
Okay.
Yeah, very good fact.
Well, how about, go ahead.
If anybody has any questions about stuff they're cooking, go on the internet. Ask questions. You will not believe the stuff you'll find. Don't ever just take it for second guessing that you think you know what it is. Don't go by just thinking. Go find out the facts. You might be saving yourself from being sick.
Right. And that's where we come in and saying we're not the authority. We might not have it right, I mean, okay. So let's talk a little bit about like we made our meal. Let's say we have company. Let's say this. We have a little bit more. We've got stuff going. We got a little bit more volume of food laying around or whatever, and we've got it in pans or we've got it on the oven or wherever we are. Let's talk about how quickly you need to, like sometimes you've got people that are still eating, taking their time, whatever, like say it's a party, okay? but we need to talk and be conscious about, we just made this food and there might be food left. We don't want it to go to waste. Okay. So we need to get it into the refrigerator. But what's some of the things like we should talk about? Placing hot food in the fridge immediately. Is that safe, or do we need to cool it first?
Uh, Go ahead, Doug.
No, I'm like having you, I'm asking you kind of throw it to you. Yeah.
Question now. I would
Sorry.
say, no, that's all right. I would cool it off. And I did read that you should not put in the refrigerator hot. I guess because of the way the bacteria goes and the way it cools off. But you should leave it to cool off for 2 hours. But if you're having a party, wouldn't you think that you wouldn't leave the food out any longer than maybe 2 hours?
I'm going to say that that's pretty accurate, but it's kind of funny. We have this thing in our family, and I was talking to her about it before, where my husband likes to get everything. I mean, literally, he's like, people are not even finished eating, and he's like trying to, oh, we got to put it back away. And and I had said to him that I thought that that was wrong. That like when it's too warm, and as you were just saying that, I was looking down here, and it was saying that if the container is too warm and it goes in the refrigerator, something happens around the container and then it can cause more bacteria because of the heat than the cold. So you really should get it to back to room temperature a little bit and then put it away, is really kind of the way that I'm understanding it. You shouldn't put it in there steaming hot. It should just be more, tempered. So
Yeah, and was reading another thing, like what happens when you have like a big pot, of
yeah,
soup or whatever. I was reading the best way to cool that down, so it's in that 2 hour frame, is to put them in separate, like little containers of it, so it cools off faster. And then you can
right.
do it in one thing and put it in the refrigerator. I love that idea. I wouldn't have even
I do
thought.
too. I do too. Hey, here's another good one. What happens if you're in a pinch? And this happens to me regularly, where it's like you didn't think about, okay, I was going to make this for dinner or whatever, and oh, I got to go pull something that's frozen out, and you didn't get a chance to have it defrost technically the night before putting it in the refrigerator. It says put your frozen food in a bowl of warm water to thaw cook quicker. Have you ever done that? I've never done that.
No, I don't think I've ever done that, but I have to tell you, guilty of leaving it out for a few hours in the frost.
Hmm.
I'm reading that that's not good to do. They're saying, well, you know what? Now microwaves, you could defrost and microwave
Yeah, you can. Yeah, that's true.
and stuff. I guess the thing is not to have it sitting out all day because that's when the germs get in there.
Right.
I know I was reading, you got to be organized and think the day ahead of time what you want to cook and then put it in the refrigerator overnight. But Debbie, you know how it is. Sometimes you can't get that organized.
I agree. I agree. We try like heck and we do good at times, but then you can be on a roll. And it also just depends on what time of year it is, what's going on. Well, here's another thing too. I know for me, we eat a lot of fish. I love fish. Okay. So we eat a lot of fish, but I'm a real weird, like when it comes to fish, I like to kind of buy it that day and cook it if I can, or at least the next day. I don't like it sitting around. One time I did get fish. I came home. It smelled very vinegary. I knew right away it was bad. So use your nose. Okay. Basically, because there's a little thing that says, give it the old sniff test, which is kind of hard sometimes because sometimes like, does it smell okay? Is this okay? And then you ask somebody else to smell it. But I mean, you can tell if something's kind of spoiled or not doing good, so obviously don't take a chance with it because you can save yourself a food poisoning episode or ER thing or something or immediate care. Because if you've ever had food poisoning, I've had it. I don't know. Have you ever had food poisoning?
No,
I have. Yeah. Yeah. And it's like, I mean, I detected what it was from and it was crazy, but you know what? It was some chicken and I think it was undercooked. And I think back and I think to myself, yeah, I don't think it was really cooked as much as it should be. And then you realize and you learn from your mistakes. Okay. Luckily I was okay. I mean, I was sick, but I was really sick, but it's just things, but, I don't know. That's kind of like a really good thing. I think we need to always like think about, looking at it. Does it look odd? Does it have funny color?
Mitch, like I said, there's so many things that we could sit here and talk about. Maybe we could do another one in a few weeks or maybe in another.
Yeah. Yeah.
On this. But we just wanted to touch on a few things today. Debbie, is there anything you want to add on there at all? Or
I can't think of anything. Oh, wait a minute. Yes, I do. Okay. Mayonnaise, milk, yogurt, anything that is of that caliber. Okay. So many times in the summer, people think of the Hawaiian salad with the marshmallows. People think of like, oh, they're making a creamy coleslaw. They're making whatever it is that has that. And you're serving outside. Maybe you're at a picnic. You guys, we have to be so cautious. It goes really fast that can spoil. And when it spoils, you may not taste it right away, but maybe you're going to feel it later because if you ate it and you could get sick. Lori and I both talked about this the other day about how cool of the ideas that you can do to eliminate that, just to be cautious, even with things that are not necessarily going to spoil quickly, things that you want to keep colder. And you've got a cute idea because you have that annual picnic. Tell them about what you guys use. It's hilarious. It's cute,
Use the little kids' pools. They sell the small ones, and we fill that up with ice and water, and we put the salads right in there. We've also gotten like plastic bins where they're about this high, and we fill those up with hummus, ice, and everybody put their salads in there.
Mm-hmm.
They also sell. They look like something you would float in the water, but
yeah,
them up and they're actually like like floaties. Looks like floaties.
Yeah.
You could put ice in there and put food around there. I think Party City sells that, and Oriental Trade would probably sell something like that.
Yeah.
But there is a lot of stuff out there, but like I said, plan ahead of time. If you're having a family picnic like we do every year, we always plan ahead of time, and I try to I have those things available because again, you don't want anybody getting sick because especially picnics, food is stayed out for a long time.
Right. And even in your kitchen, like if you get the gallon of milk out, we're a big almond milk family, but if you get that out, use it, put it in your milk or your coffee, or put it in your cereal, whatever you're doing, and then just put it right back in the refrigerator. Just don't let it sit, because it starts to sweat on the outside, and then before you know it, then you're just compromising. It's not going to last like it should, and then let's not be wasteful. Let's talk about this for a second. Let's just end with this, okay? Because I have a big pet peeve about this, about wasting food. And I think we all have to think really about people that don't have, foods and things like that, or the necessities that they need, so we really need to think about not wasting stuff. It's do what you can. Sometimes what I'll do is, if we have some leftovers, I'll freeze some of them, so that my kids can take them for different occasions, or we can pull a little bit out, like if there's less people that day for dinner and we have it to, so anyways.
Yeah, because the cost of food is
oh my God.
So we have to really think about all this stuff when we're preparing food.
Totally.
And you know what? I think we should probably have another day to talk about this later in the summer. But
yeah, let's do that.
It's a great topic for you guys to do some research on before you have your parties and your picnics, and teach your grandkids or your kids over the summer about all the safety with food. So,
absolutely. With that, Lord, do you want to close us out?
Oh, I sure will. You guys all have a wonderful weekend. Enjoy. We're in June. Enjoy the summer. Enjoy the weekend. And we'll see you next week. And you know what? I'm Lori.
I'm Debbie.
And we're friends
helping friends. Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Take care. Have a great one. Bye-bye.
Bye.